Hey, pin people. I got a new camera and I'm testing it out to see how it works compared to a GoPro and a microphone. So I figured I would answer your chess questions while messing around with this thing. So basically, the question seems to revolve around how do you diagnose what's going on with your chest mod once you have it installed and it's not working properly. So I'll show you just, not the full install, but just answer the basic questions. So what I would suggest, just here, is that your game be turned on, and you need to move the forks out of the way. Just do it manually. It's very easy. You can see on this side even, right up in here, there's a white bushing that I'm pushing with my fingers right now. See that right in there? And that just needs to be pushed up. Mine's already up. I'll lower it so you can see. Okay, so it's down right now. Let's see if I can get in there any better. Yeah, there you go. See, it's down now. Push it up and it locks in place. So what that's simulating is the forks being up, and that means that the chest should be open because you're going to shoot a ball into it. So in that case, the rod will be be pulled all the way back. It needs to pull back to pull on the back of the lid to open it up. And so this guy, it's not in the correct position right now. It should be back here somewhere around the 1 o'clock position. This alignment that it's in right now is going to be for the chest closed because I don't have power in my game right now, so it doesn't know, can't adjust, etc. So if you're going to test this out, turn on the game, open the coin door so you don't short anything with high power, and you can just raise the forks manually with your finger, and I would undo this clevis here just opens up, and you just slide it out, and then and the forks are going to be up, which means that the chest would theoretically be open, which means that the rod would be pulled back all the way. And so if this is not pulled back all the way, then you're going to want to unscrew it from the front there and adjust it. I would do this all with this thing off, just, get the servo working, make sure it's in the right alignment, etc. When you pull up on the switch that's attached to the mod, which is right over here on this side, there's a switch. Let's see if I can. I think you're seeing it. Okay. That is those white nylon bushings that are on this side as well. Hit that switch to tell the mod that the forks are down, and that means the chest should close. So you're going to use that switch to basically fake it. You're going to give it an idea of, here's what's going to happen in normal operation. So you see, I just turned mine on. The servo's moving 3 times because what it noticed is that the forks are up. So it needed to, I need a pop eliminator. So it needed to adjust the chest and actually move it back down. So what you're seeing right now is the position of my rod, that it's pulled back to about the 1 o'clock position. And that means it's pulling down on the chest and the lid and opening it up. What you'll want to do then, like I said, is detach the guy there, whatever it's called, from the servo, and then use your finger. I'm going to hold it onto that switch, and it opened the chest. So it thinks, it closed the chest. So it thinks that the forks just came down. When I let go of it, it pulls it back, opens the chest because it thinks the forks went up. The switch has a debounce on it. It's going to wait a second before it does anything. So you can't just flick it and expect something to happen. It won't. You need to hold it down. So that will tell you if the servo's working. If the servo moves when it starts up, and if the servo moves when you do the switch test, then you know the switch is working and the servo's working. That basically, and the controller is most likely all working as well. So that basically eliminates anything with this side of the mod being an issue. Now, that's weird. So now that that's eliminated, you're going to take this rod that's not attached right now, and you can push it up and down and shove it. You can hold the red casing on the outside, and you can use your other hand to move the inner part. So have it, have the red part and hold it right about here where it's going to go, and then use the inner part of the rod to open and close the chest. It's not going to work like will when the game's down and gravity's pulling on it, but you'll get an idea if it's easy to move or not. If it's not easy to move, then that can be an issue. You need to figure out why and what's going on. So now that I have the chest right now in the open position, so that means that the arm is in the 1 o'clock position, and so if I am aligning it right now, I want the arm pointing at the 1 o'clock position, and I want the rod to just about meet that arm perfectly. And so this would be the most clockwise that arm will ever be, and it's pulling back as far as it's ever going to pull back. That's opening the chest. Now, if you were to attach it, just like I have now, and you go to test it, it's going to now go forward as far as it's going to go forward, and that should give it enough room to close the lid. And you can use your hands on the other side of the playfield to just push the lid down and see if it closes. The gravity would normally do it, but you can just sort of lightly push on it and get it to close, and don't force it. But that will tell you. Let go of the switch, it pulls back, opens the lid. So those are the operations you need to look for. If the servo's having a hard time moving the lid, or the lid's not closing all the way, then something's binding, or something's not aligned right. You either need to adjust the knuckle and what position it's at. You might need to adjust the way that the rod is routed. You might need to adjust the switch over here. You can bend that metal tang further down. So I think you can see it right there. If you bend that tang further down, where am I looking? The screen is not very visible. I don't know if you can see it in there, but this tang, let's see if I can see my finger. Yeah, sort of. That metal piece right there, you would just bend it further down so that the bushing contacts it all the way when it comes back down and the forks are lowered. You need to hear that click happen. You can do it manually. You can just come under here and flick this little lever down, which lets the forks back down, and you can hear the servo move, and I can then know that this switch got depressed all the way that's over here. And if you don't hear that click, 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 if you don't hear that click, then the switch isn't getting depressed fully. So we just need to know which part is not working. We can get you the replacement parts, or you can make the adjustments needed, and we'll go from there. Had a question about putting this keypad on. Here's where it goes. If yours isn't cut out like that, it's not a problem. You don't have to have it cut out, but you would just push it through the holes there. It makes its own holes. The dots point down. The little buttons point towards the controller, down that way. And the top left one then in this instance, which is the one closest to you on the right side of the thing, is number 1. And yours should have a label on it that says what those do. If you have an extension, just plug the extension in there, run it around, and plug the keypad in the extension when you put it down here somewhere. And you'll just need to make sure you get the keypad in the right orientation. Won't hurt anything if it's in the wrong orientation. It's just the keys aren't going to match up to what the instructions say. You can unplug this at any time while the game's on. Obviously normal precautions, but you can take that plug out and unplug the chest mod. Other things are going to go off on the black pearl, but that doesn't matter for the testing. And you can, just plug it back in to simulate it turning on and see if the servo moves and stuff like that. It's just some basic diagnostics, and then we can direct you on what needs to change or get fixed.